Protocol as the set rules, custom and the traditionals by which an act public of private events is organized. Sport protocol series of established rules which is the right to harmonize or achieve that they accost according to that they please avoid public, private, sport activities, etc., and reach customers of behaviors and actions for the benefit of the end. A sport protocol is the way on which an event is arranged so that is the effects disagreed with the institution that organizes it. Sport, as a general rule, have their own rules of etiquette for different types of pitted against each other to win or gain a race. Terms and conditional effect of the contract, competition system update, economic proposal, accommodation, transportation and demerits, promotion, organization, control and security, facilities, obligations of the contracting parties, and for on adjudication.
Cases of protocol ceremonies. The kick-off of honor in a soccer match. The delivery flags between team captains. The toast that is made in the cup of the prize that has just been obtained. The Olympic flame. The protocol has ceremonies of inauguration, promotion, and closure. Organization of an event. Protocol before, during, and after the event. Before the event, it is important to define the event, to establish a budget, to manage the bureaucracy, and also to communicate and disseminate. Regulations of a protocol nature. When you are going to do an event, it is important to have suprafederative status. It is also important to have club manuals. When you are going to organize the event, it is very important to have the rules of the sport, and it is also important to have the rules of the government. The criteria of the organizer is going to be necessary, and it's also important to have previous customs and precedents.
The championship. This is a single sport event. The games, it is an event of several sports. The symbols of the ceremonies, they think each other. The flags, this is of the host country, of the participating countries if they are international games, and the flags of the different games. The anthems of the countries and the sport ones, and finally the heralds. Who to ask to host a game? In Colombia, to Coldeportes. In other countries, the process is done starting from the city through the elderly. Of the department with the governor, the legislative power, through Congress, and the executive with the president of the republic. As a general rule, at least 2 months in advance, although it is advisable to do so with a greater margin of time. During the event, there must be attention to the public, fast and agile access, comfortable and functional space, security, evacuation, protocol and correct instructions, and signage. And also attention to the participants, that is having a good number of staff or volunteers, catering and cleaning service. The participants are the protagonists and must be duly carried forth. After the event, and everything must remain as it was before the celebration of it, A cleaning plan must be put in place to put everything back in its place, measure the impact it has had in terms of participation, public appearance in the media, and analyze if the expectations that the organization had in the event have been met, analyze if it has been profitable through an economic report, appropriate consultation have been the figures obtained by registrants, ticket sales, sponsors, subsidies, television rights, if any.
Opening and closing ceremonies. Opening. One day before the start of the competition. Closing. The last day of the competition. The program of the ceremonies will be proposed by the COGO and approved by the COE Executive Commission. Opening ceremonies. 1. The opening is declared open by the head of the state of the host country. 2. The head of state will be received at the entrance of the stadium by the president of the COE and by the president of the COGO. The two presidents will then lead the head of state his box in the tribune of honor. 3. Immediately thereafter, the parade of the participants will begin. Each delegation in official uniform will be preceded by banner bearing its name and its flag, carried by a member of the delegation. The flag of the participating delegation, as well as the poster, will be supplied by the COGO and will all have the same dimensions. The bearers of the poster will be designated by the COGO.
Okay, no participants in the parade will have the right to bring into the stadium flags, banners, pennants, cameras, accessories, or other visible objects that are not part of the official uniform. A delegation will march in alphabetical order of the language of the host country. The delegations will greet the head of state and the president of the COI when passing in front of his box. The national anthem of the host country will then be played or sung. In the event that the IOC authorizes an opening ceremony of authors in another Olympic venue, the IOC Executive Board will determine its protocol. After a speech by the president of the COHO, the president of the ICO will deliver the closing speech of the Olympic Games. A fanfare will resound. The Olympic flamme will go out and to the chorus of the Olympic anthem. Finally, the farewell song will be sung.
11. The Olympic torch will be brought into the stadium by runners who will have relieved each other. The last runner will make a complete lap of the track before lifting the Olympic flame, which will burn uninterruptedly until closing of the Olympic Games. Once the Olympic flame has been lit, a symbolic release of Pigon shall take place. 12. The flag bearers of delegation shall stand a semicircle around 2 days, to which a competitor of home country shall ascend, holding in the left hand edge of the Olympic flag and raising his right hand. The side competitor shall take a following solemn oaths. On behalf of all competitor is promised that will be participate of the Olympic Games respecting and complying with its regulation, committing all results to doping and free sport, in true sportsmanship for the greater glory and the sport and to honor of our teams. 30. Adjudicates from the host country will take the stand and in the same manner take the following oath. On behalf of judge and member of the official staff, I promise that will be performed on duties during Olympic Games with strict impartiality, respecting and complying with its regulation in true sportsmanship.